Make sure you hit subscribe. I'm trying to get to that 100K. Help a brother out. You just have to keep adding to the short, Gavin. Can't ban the options market, can you? Nvidia down 2% is traded the most. 36 million shares. Down 18%. Meta down 10%, 11%. Alphabet up only 4% now after being up 8 or 9% last night. Pretty ugly out there. Intel down 1%. Opendoor down. Tesla down 2%. Amazon down 2%. But gainers, Emergence up. Guardant, Glaukos, Metsera with a rival bid from Novo, topping the Pfizer offer for Metsera. Batham up 11. Insmed up 11. Align up 11. Big losers. We got FMC down 41%. Sprouts Farmers Market, a growth stock, down 26%. Apellis down 20%. Chipotle down 18%, as I mentioned earlier. Baxter down 16%. eBay down 15%. Carvana down 13%. WPP, advertising giant, down 16%. By value, Meta's traded the most, $16 billion, which is only 1% of their market cap. Looks like the market's kind of getting back to a normalcy here where it's not Opendoor and Quantum leading the way anymore in trading. I saw the Korea numbers for trading Quantum and they were pretty tepid. How to do fundamental analysis? Good question. Question everyone disagrees on. Nvidia is nothing like Berkshire. Abivax over 100. Congrats. I hope you bought it with me. I think doubled our money at this point on Abivax, one of my favorite biotech picks. Yeah, I'm not too interested in trading Intellia. But yeah, you know, I agree, you know, it was a stock that you're holding it would have benefited you greatly, and not touching it kind of like the same philosophy some Berkshire investors have, but not obviously not a similar company in any way. But I see what you mean. Ectropic, you know, showing some interesting technology. I don't know that world that well. You know, P-bits are an interesting idea. Probabilistic bits, unclear if how useful they'll be. I don't know. I just don't know. I need a coffee, guys. I think people have, well, performance-wise, let me think. There are people with pretty good records out there. I mean, Buffett's is so good because it's so long. Yeah, I'm friends with Beth, of course. Beth is great. I trust Beth quite a bit. Oh, I should look at the drone stocks. Well, I guess to put it simply, to do a fundamental analysis is to look at the details of the company and to try to value the company the best you can. I mean, that's really what fundamental analysis is. Well, Buffett missed on a lot of things, but I think the point is long-term track record is about as good as it gets. Why don't we take a look at Berkshire real quick? Yes, I'm still in a halfway house. That is true. Don't hold it against me. 3 years later, just trying to make ends meet here with this prison system, you know? Hard in these streets. Absolutely, you know? No, I haven't had the ankle bracelet in almost 3 years now, and I just got off probation, so. I'm in jail. Don't tell the warden, please. I had dinner with George Santos last night. It was great. Santos, not Soros. I have a GitHub. It's at github.com/Martin Shkreli/models. Okay, let's see if we can get this in one shot. Start with shareholders' equity. That's easy. So what's debt and what isn't? I think I'm including all insurance stuff as debt on the insurance side for the liability side. Any policyholder liability is debt because you're getting the float as cash. Okay, if you do that, it's actually pretty easy. I guess Berkshire is using a little bit of their cash for buybacks. Stock hasn't done very well, right? Yeah, Alnylam's selling like crazy. I remember accidentally buying 100 shares of Berkshire A for like 20 million. They were like, oh, this was an accident, right? And I was like, no. Markets, the frothy stocks don't want to really go down. Quantum, Joby, Oklo, they're all kind of only open is really falling. Oh, are you crying? You bought a stock and you're down? Oh, poor baby need a bottle. Oh, no. Wait till baby need a bottle. With no growth planned. Or no growth estimated. Yeah, it's hard to grow Berkshire. I mean, yeah, we got to look at Biohaven. Everyone wants to have a Berkshire Hathaway. It's very hard to actually do. Buffett really thought different. I mean, he was really creative. Okay, so here's Biohaven. I looked at it in a bit. $18 stock, 1.8 billion cap. Vlad has a great track record. You know, he sold most of Biohaven already. What was it, 15 billion or something? And so this is kind of what was left over from the Pfizer deal when he sold the migraine drugs to Pfizer. Shares out hasn't changed. Yeah, they're not so cash rich. Trying very hard to, oh, they do have, okay, so they need some cash. But regardless, yeah, they're spending a lot. They're going to spend 600 million this year. Jesus Christ. So this is kind of new Biohaven, founded 2022, but
It had all the old drugs.
So, you know, it's kind of this big portfolio of medicines. And the main thing going on here is 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏
approved for the amyotrophic lateral sclerosis.
Yeah, I always called it riluzole, but it's riluzole. And this thing's been around forever.
In this area is the sodium channel blocker, or riluzole engine.
And I think the mechanism of action was always a little kind of confusing. And everyone's tried to get it to work in different diseases. So they have riluzole, and it's just I think it's a prodrug, you know, basically. So we're going to see if we can find out how the FDA is going to decide here. But they have so many assets. I mean, they really do. It's a huge portfolio. And I like most of them, you know, so I've always liked this stock. I actually never liked riluzole because you know, it's like classic biotech. I wouldn't like it either. I mean, but you know, it's something where, you know, you have to, I mean, let's see what the FDA says and let's see what they seem very convinced. And, you know, the guy sold a company for 14 billion. So I'm not going to sit there and say I know better than him. You know, I'm not saying he knows better than me, but I want to hear him out. You know, what is he thinking? Stocks go up, stocks go down. You got to wait it out sometimes. All right. So they had this study, 206 study, phase 3. Is this the same study? We just got to go through this really carefully. BHV 4157 206. So obviously, you know, the company's going to be out there lobbying, trying to get the FDA to say yes. CA primary endpoint. 𝗬𝗏 did not reach stat sig as there was less than expected. Okay. Oh, they had a refusal to file. Is this 206 RWE? I'm going to read this really slowly because it's a little confusing, but it looks like there's the 206 RWE, which I don't really know how that differed from 206, but we'll look at it. OCD failed. I wish I was quantum, man. You know how hard quantum is to learn? Riluzole is a bit of a confusing drug. Nobody really knows how it works. I mean, nobody knows if it works. The data it was approved on for ALS was pretty minimal, and honestly, I don't think the drug was used that heavily in ALS, and it certainly wasn't priced like it worked. But it was also like kind of, I wouldn't say before the rare disease era, but it was a while back. AI is a bubble, but quantum isn't. Right on their website, you put the link up and tell me access denied. Tell them about access denied, bro. Just have to understand what this study was. Novel rationally designed therapy? I don't know about that. Glutamate dysregulation increases intracellular calcium. Opens down, BTQ's down, but lays is up for some reason. No, nootropics are not a real thing in my opinion. So this is the primary endpoint at 3 years. But did they do a study? Riluzole, 3-year, 𝗡𝗏. Okay, well, hold on a second. Hold on. Wait just a second over here. I spy with my little eye. You guys see this, chat? Just saying. Keep an eye on that. Oh, they're not all SCA? Oh, is this for all SCA? I thought it was just SCA 3. Okay, well, they still beat Euro SCA. In fact, that data looks better. Okay, so the first concern I had was the baselines are imbalanced. But the Euro SCA data looks quite similar, the baseline to the 206. And so here, the European baseline was also to beat that as well. So that's good. Pooled data. But now we get back to this issue, which is what happened here with these patients. But here, this looks much more robust. So the dropouts and the censoring looks fine. That looked like a fear for a second. I mean, it's kind of, might be hard to say no to this. Or did they say high SD? P-value less than 0.0001 on this. 0.05 here. No, I didn't see that, Monte Cristo. What a crybaby. It's war in these markets. You got a problem with your returns? Try harder. Ask me about ataxia. You know, there's a thing about, you guys may not know this, but if you have something that says ask me in biopharma, you're only allowed to promote a drug if it's on label. In other words, if it has a FDA approval for that disease. But if you have something that says ask me about ataxia, and then and the drug is for ataxia, you're allowed to do that. And if the doc asks you, you are allowed to tell them about the off-label use. It's a very like, thing that you can do. A little loophole. No, Friedreich's ataxia and SCA or spinocerebral ataxia are different things. So people wear these buttons that are like, ask me about this thing. And doc is like, what about this thing? And you're like, oh, well, since you asked, I can tell you that Lyrica is an excellent drug for whatever disease you want. Depression, yeah, it works for that. Anxiety, yep, absolutely. My patient's, his problem is, it works. Don't worry. You didn't even let me finish. Tell me they're going to rally quantum on a day like today. Not feeling that, man. 𝗤𝗡𝗅𝗍. There's another way. You guys want more tricks? I want me to do some tricks on it. 𝗤𝗡𝗅𝗍. It's this trick. 𝗤𝗡𝗅𝗍.com. Page is parked. What happens when it's not parked no more? See, I'm putting you on. I spelled it wrong too. Here we go. That's parked as well. I'm gonna buy it for $20. I'm 3 steps ahead. Now maybe a label pops up. If this drug gets approved, what does the stock go to 50? If I'm not mistaken. 20 calls are $5. So if the 20 calls are $5 and it goes to 50, I turn 5 into 30. That's a quick flip. That's a quick come up. All I need to know is it going to get approval? Ari's question, would payers reimburse? I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Okay, search did not return any results. I wrote some software to, somebody did a FOIA log. Okay, let me see that log over there. Bernstein, Litowitz, a lot of FOIA requests, insider info requests. So anyway, we're on watch trying to figure out if this drug is approved. There'll be some document somewhere that shows that, and we want to see that before anybody else, so we can make 50x our money. That makes sense? Or 5x, any x. So that's going to be the drug's name, I guess, 𝗤𝗡𝗅𝗍. But sometimes at the last second, the drug names change. Again, the FDA is, oh yeah, don't tell anybody. Don't snitch. Snitching is a problem. Now, what we're doing is completely legal. Don't ask any more questions though, please. The FDA's website is a little bit scrapable, so they'll probably put out some kind of press release. It's not always clear that they don't always put out a press release. Just because a drug gets FDA approval doesn't mean the stock will go up. Well, thank you so much, Nick, for that insight. But in this case, it does. They have not announced the exact date. What are we talking about? What drug? Of course, we're still on troriluzole. Listen, you figure out the troriluzole approval, you make 5 mil real quick. Or 50. For me, it's more like 5, but shit, maybe you make 50. Some of y'all really don't have any money, though. You're trying to flip 3K into 15K. Don't make me pull out the Andrew Tate again. You're broke. So wicked low. I like SPRB. I didn't change my mind. Yeah, he knows what I'm talking. Brian knows what I'm talking about. Yes, I'm still in Sarepta. Open door down 6-7% there. The whole Eric Jackson portfolio is going to zero, dude. I don't know if the AdCom is relevant. I almost think AdCom's I don't know. There's a distribution there. AdCom is either no AdCom is really good or really bad. Yeah, you do have that going for it. It's a rare disease drug, very capable management. Very plausible approval on the real world data. My favorite Swiss banks has to say, shout out to UBS here. I ain't reading all that. Happy for you, or I'm sorry it happened. Only remaining, no, there's a lot of Swiss banks. There's Von Tobel, there's many others. Call the analyst live. Let's go. Oh, is this the same expert? We got JP Morgan. No, there's a lot of Swiss banks left. Don't get it twisted. I need the 70-page slide deck. I probably have it somewhere. JP Morgan says 40% of approval. At least into the 30s for the stock. Good case, I get this weird middle ground where restricted label. I don't think that would be bad, my man. Or my girl. I mean, the 35 calls are $2, so it's not like Yeah, I think it hits 40. Yeah, Biohaven really is a great long-term outlook on what the FDA is going to do. This is the 70-page slide deck. This is all you need to understand Biohaven. Just join Godel Terminal and it's yours. Well, the refusal to file wasn't good. I was thinking about buying Meta too. You got to email me, Ari. You're a buy-sider, right? Man, I ain't feeling doing all this research, man. I'm just going to call Trump. China. Let me see if I could get Trump on the line, man. What I'm trying to figure out is was the RWE a totally separate study or was it an extension of the other study? The only reason I'm curious is if same starting date, they must have started that and then it went into the other. Okay, yeah. Here's the kind of ran this into that. Okay, so all these have been any SCA patients. So it's not SCA 3. It's all SCA. 201 efficacy, p-value 0.52 is lower better here for Sarah. Really close to no significance here. I mean, really close to no change at all, basically. In fact, patients who considered themselves improved was higher on placebo. So it's a little worrisome there. Although the FARA they seem to do better. No, I'd rather not short Biohaven because they have a lot of good assets and they have a really good management team. Yeah, so the first study was actually like somewhat in favor of placebo. And this study, okay, that's the extension study. Let's look at the next study. P-value 0.75, rough. Oof. So you get 2 studies in a row that show no efficacy. Subgroup of SCA3 isn't really that convincing. Okay, RWE was their best looking thing, but it's really just not concordant with the other studies. Redros, well, BTQ and CCCX are garbage companies that are going to 0. Yeah, it seems like the doctors want it. Yeah, Rigetti's going to 0 too, of course. Rigetti has no chance. Rigetti's got the worst of the superconducting, and superconducting, it's not even clear you can scale that at all. It could be very tough for them to scale that. I don't think they know how to. And then D-Wave is like complete garbage. I bought it a while back and I sold it because somebody in Godel told me INBX wasn't a good long. They said they were short. And I was like, all right, whatever. I sold it. You know, they were like, I forgot what they said. It was like something very minimal. The data was pretty good. But once D-Wave reports their next quarter, maybe it'll be a little more clear that they're not going anywhere fast. BTQ and Open, though, wow, BTQ is diving. Lays as well is up, but CCCQ or CCCX is down. It'll be really interesting. I don't know on Biohaven, man. This is a toss-up. I mean, I could see it both ways. And so the question is, do we want to, just in case, let it, you know, if it fails, the deck is cleared for... I mean, expectations are low, right? The stock's gone from 50 to 18. So, like, it's kind of bottomed out in a way. Open Army, we're holding lines. Yeah. Abivax at 106. Let's go. Rigetti is 36 cents. Who said price don't matter? Price always matters. Yeah, I didn't really know INBX, and this guy sounded like he knew it, and... Well, I think to really understand Biohaven, you're going to want to know the rest of the portfolio. And they kind of have a really good rest of the portfolio. So this might actually, if they get approval, it's obviously really good news. If they don't, and I know they're trying really hard, maybe it clears the deck in a way that's kind of positive so that like the street can focus on the other drugs. Because I think there's been this focus on this drug. And I'm a little tempted to buy. They're burning a lot, but they can always raise more money and monetize drugs, I think. Dress up for Halloween. Oh yeah, maybe I should. It's also been climbing into this approval. Not that that matters much, but it's kind of interesting. I'd rather not gamble. We should, you know, avoid gambling. I'm not paying any attention to Intellia. The company is just cursed. Management already sold a big company. They seem very good at portfolio management. So yeah, they had a $14 billion exit. And the portfolio looks great. I mean, hard to bet against these guys. So it's kind of like you buy a little here at 2 billion, maybe you get a chance to buy more at 1 billion. But if they get approval, we're headed to 6 billion. If they don't get approval, we're still probably heading to 6 billion because they're pretty good and they've got good assets. It's hard. These call options have to be worth something, right? I do think the chances are probably higher than perceived, but that doesn't help us if we're just trying to. Capper's coming mid-November. She didn't slip. Did she say she slipped in a call? I don't think she slipped. Meta's still down 12%. Yeah, they said mid-November, but I don't think that was a slip. I understand it's a video game. What kind of game is it? Man, I need a break from work, man. I'm mid Q4 versus mid-November. Yeah, I see. Look at that Abivax go. I do run a business here. Strange action today. You know, Nvidia got the best news they've ever gotten. Meta had a decent quarter. It's down 12%. Google, sort of the correct reaction, I think. Microsoft, very good quarter, down 3%. It feels toppy to me. Feels quite toppy to me. The quantum reaction is a little weird, but that doesn't scare me because those stocks can drop 10% very quickly. It's the big caps that, you know, really are a little worrisome. No, I would like to buy Meta, but I also wonder if the markets, if I buy Meta, I would have to short something in its place, like Apple. Apple seems like a good short. Apple's really expensive. Toppy's in. Well, yeah, we need plants. I need an assistant to water the plants, get me coffee. If you're interested in this, you got to send me your Instagram first. It has sold all his stock, my man. 𝗕𝗏𝗘𝗧𝗏𝗧 is a new company. Don't speak on what you don't know. Oh yeah, Biohaven's a buy at any price. I hate to say that, but like, Vlad's kind of the GOAT, man. I don't know. I kind of want to buy it, but I don't want to get smacked when they, if and when they don't approve this drug. But it's kind of, I hate to buy a little and then, you know what I mean? Buy a little now, buy after I get smashed. I don't know if I like that. That seems like gambling to me. But at the same time, I think everybody knows it's not going to get approved, or everyone expects it's not going to get approved, and does have a chance of getting approved. So, but quantum is the kind of thing where it could be down very shortly. Yeah, basically the way you might want to use 𝗏𝗏 is, you know, that's top news. So you type top, but let's say you're into biopharma. So what you do is you type N, go to your watch list and do biopharma, which is my watch list. And then I just turn on the speaker. Depending on how much news you want, I have this filter set a certain way, but if I reset the filter, this will go off pretty frequently. Let me see. I think it's got all sources. Yeah. Okay, so we'll see what this looks like, but this is just biopharma news from this quote monitor. And then I can also try biopharma news from my second quote monitor, which is called Bio2. I actually have 3 of them, Bio2 and Bio3. And I could just turn all those on with audio so I know any of these. I'm short a lot more than that, Gianluca. Well, you can get a similar username, Ryo. I'm happy to give you a good one. I don't know if the free tier is TTS. I don't think the free tier is TTS, no. You want it to have TTS? I could probably get some cheapo TTS that's like really cheap. TTS costs money. I don't know. D-Wave shows no signs of stopping. You fool. Enron shows no signs of stopping. That's a Malaysian stock. Don't think I need that. That's not a great tool. Yeah, there's some cheaper models that maybe we can give to our free users. I don't know. We're going to make chat TTS as well, so that's going to be pretty funny. And you should be able to set your your chat voice. I'll set mine to Trump. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you could do filters. You got to experiment with it. I think one thing we could do is make it so that you can save your presets, but there's a bunch of, the way we do filtering isn't great. The best way to do it is like just have press releases and like well-known news wires. Because if you don't do that, you're going to get the like Ohio Daily News. Now, some users may want that, especially if they're like using this more of as like a database for news as opposed to a trader. You can also type it in. I mean, you do it once, it's not that big of a deal. I'm about to end this man's whole career. I'm about to end this man's whole career.